The first thing that the faller needs to do is to position themselves centered on the tree at 90 degrees to the predetermined fall. And when in this position, the faller can determine where he's going to place his undercut. 1/3 the diameter, bring back your gunning cut, and at the same time we can determine the width of our holding wood or our hinge and where our back cut will end. We have laid out a ribbon on the line here to indicate the predetermined lay. After completing the gunning cut, the next cut is the sloping cut on the top. When you're about bar depth in, we'll stop and we'll go around and we'll check the other side of the tree for the alignment. You come around to this side of the tree and see your alignment. A trick that you can use is to take a small twig and place it in the far corner of your gunning cut. By doing this, you can look over your bar and you can see the position of your bar in relation to that stick and see how you're going to come out. You can see we've matched our corners up. We don't have any detachments through the center. We have a good 45, a good wide opening. And now we're ready to start back cut. We start our chain running, start cutting in, cut up to the point here that we determined would be our holding wood in the beginning, jog in, and start pivoting our saw around. When we get in far enough to set our safety wedge in, we'll set our safety wedge and we'll go around, look the other side and see how we're coming out. Then we'll come back here, start the saw, and we'll follow our gunning sight as we pivot the saw around as it begins to line up with our predetermined lay over here. Okay, as you can see, our tree went to the intended lay. That the cuts that we made to construct the hinge to lower the tree in that direction, our gunning cut on our undercut and our back cut here are perpendicular, level with each other. We have the appropriate stump shot, and you can see by the lines that we scribed when we started that we followed our plan and constructed our hinge in the appropriate place, and we didn't cut anywhere into this while we were doing our undercut or our back cut, and we were able to put our tree in the point.
and trim off a small patch of bark down to the cambium layer to allow easier use of the dogs. When first getting used to falling trees, cut in only enough to allow the weight of the saw to be carried by the kerf that you make. Keep the power head back and out of the way initially. This will help you see what the chain is actually doing. Smoothly slip the saw further back into the tree and allow the dogs to act as a holding place for the power head on your on side. Continue to cut until your gunning sights line up with your desired target. While the saw can be pivoted for your matching cut on the dogs, it is often easier for newcomers to remove the saw and lower the power head to allow easier visualization of the chain. Cutting in just enough to allow a shallow kerf in the tree will also allow for some of the saw weight to be carried by the tree. After a clean 45-degree cut is started, smoothly allow the saw to push up and again set the dogs. Check down your bar to see if you are lining up on your off side. If your cut is high on either side, don't go past the gunning cut. Stop in line with the wood grain directly above the gunning cut corners. You can knock the pie out, and this will not change the direction the tree will fall. If you end up short on your offside, simply pivot the bar back up using the dogs, not removing the bar completely from the original kerf. Re-angle the bar and make a second cut. Clean out your face cut. Ensure there are no Dutchmen. Give 2 loud, clear yells, "Tree falling," and give a direction. Use your arm to show the direction of the tree so others can see. To ensure you can hear others in the area, take your earplugs out during this call and listen well for anyone you may not be able to see. For the back cut, again cut in just enough to allow the weight of the saw to be carried by the tree. Do this with the power head out of the way, then push the saw in and set your dogs. Gunning sights can again be used for the back cut. Pivoting on the dogs, cut until your sights line up with the same target as your gunning cut. If the tree doesn't go over on its own, check your offside to ensure you don't cut into your hinge wood. Ensure you plan ahead to know if the tree needs wedging or not. At first, only cut trees that do not need wedging. Even when a tree doesn't need to be wedged over, still insert a safety wedge when a tree has enough size to allow it, unless the tree has a heavy lean in the desired direction.